Kath Megaw, and today I get to talk about another challenge when it comes to picky eating, and that is feeding during illness and also feeding when your child has allergies. Now, my experience has been that children who get sick sometimes will come out of that and become picky eaters, and parents can never understand how this works. And sometimes it's related to the way we as parents handle an illness and feeding. When you are sick or not feeling great, the last thing you often want to do is eat. Yet, isn't it strange that when our children are sick, or they have, for example, a gastro bug, we can't wait to feed them. We just want to feed them. We feel that if we feed them food, they're going to get better. And it's actually the opposite. They actually really start to dislike the foods that they ate during their illness. Now, think of when you had your last gastro bug, and you will remember distinctly the food you ate just before being ill, and you probably don't want to eat that food in a hurry again. And it's very similar with your child. So the food that they ate around the time of getting sick or while they were ill, they will often go off after getting better. So what I suggest you should do rather during that time is focus on making sure they stay well hydrated, that they get enough liquids in is the most important thing. The food is really at their asking. So if they are wanting something, then you give it to them, obviously. You can offer things, but don't push food. They will come out of it, and when they come out, they will want food, and they will start looking for food. So you don't want to create a food aversion during a bout of illness or during particularly a bout of gastro. Children also sometimes have got admitted to hospital during the illness, and so there's a connotation linked to that trauma, and that can often be around the feeding. And so you really want to desensitize them. And so letting them come out of the illness graciously and come out of a gastro bug graciously is really important in order to reestablish eating habits. You might also find that their eating habits change. So a child who is eating specific foods in a certain texture wants to eat now totally different textured foods for a while after coming out of an illness, and that's okay. So be creative and come up with some new and interesting ideas that you can feed them. Now, another child that is really difficult to feed and when they become picky is a child with allergies. Your child with allergies can be really scary for you. So if you've experienced your child having an anaphylactic reaction after eating peanuts, so in other words, they stop breathing or they vomit so much that you had to rush them to hospital, you will probably be more nervous around foods and label reading. And this nervousness and anxiousness might rub off on your child, but they won't perceive it as just around peanuts. They'll think it's all food related and might be quite resistant to try new things because of a fear that they have about that previous experience. And so it's really important that the language you use around the allergies that your child has is more positive as opposed to fear-based. So instead of saying, oh, be careful, we must check, see what's in that food, rather say, let's see what's in this food and see if there's nice, healthy things in that you can eat. And as your child gets older and you teach them about their allergies and say, we're going to look at labels and see if it's got peanuts, and if it doesn't, you can have it. So focusing more on that you can have foods that don't have the allergies in versus not having foods that have the allergies. So it's more about inclusion of foods as opposed to exclusion of food. So it's really important that you do educate your child, especially your growing child, but not from a fear perspective, more from a nutritional encouragement positive perspective. Nutritional supplementation during illness is really positive and such a wonderful way to move your child out of that sick phase. They often lose a bit of weight when they're sick, maybe because they haven't eaten, they've had high fevers, and you want to replenish those nutrients, because if you don't replenish those nutrients, they're going to become apathetic to some of the foods, and they're not going to be that enthusiastic about eating. So for example, they might have low vitamin B levels or low iron stores, and you want to replenish that. And finding a nutritional supplement like PediaSure that's got all the macronutrients like proteins, fats, carbohydrates, your micronutrients, your vitamins, your minerals that can replenish your child who's just come through an illness is really helpful in restoring appetite and letting the child actually want to eat again. So it's really critical to replenish that child that has been sick. And your child with allergies that's maybe food restricted, it's really important as well to find certain supplements to make up the deficit if they're not able to get all the nutrients because you are restricting certain foods from their diet. So you will be able to determine at what point your child needs the nutritional supplement and for how long. But normally we say during an illness, you can do it just post-illness for a month or two, and once appetite has been restored. However, if your child was a picky eater prior to illness, then you will want to continue and maintain that nutritional supplement ongoing. So there is hope for your child who gets sick and who has been sick and lost certain foods because of it. It generally will come back, but don't put too much pressure on it. And remember, when your child is ill, don't just spend all your time and energy trying to feed them. Make sure they remain hydrated, give them lots of TLC, lots of cuddles, and that will get them better faster than anything.